Welcome back to a very spooky episode of Odd Scoops. Today, we're going to be making the darkest ice cream. So, you're probably asking yourself, what does the darkest ice cream have in it? Well, a while ago, I came up with the great idea of trying to make an ice cream solely based off of dark ingredients. So I did a bunch of research and there are tons of options. So it took a while to narrow it down. So I eventually landed on charcoal, activated charcoal, dark chocolate, specifically 100% cocoa or cacao. I also decided to use black sesame seeds. What better fruit that's dark to use than blackberries? Now, I already have homemade blackberry syrup here that I'll be using. Now, something to keep in mind going forward as you guys are watching this, I had a ton of potential ingredients I could have used for this. So much so that I'd actually think next year for October, I'm going to try doing this again, but I can't use these ingredients. I have to use other ones. So if you guys think of any other dark ingredients for me to use for that ice cream next year, feel free to put those in the comments below, and I'll take them all into account, and we'll see what kind of crazy ice cream we can come up with for Darkest Ice Cream version 2.0 next year. So game plan wise, I'm gonna start off with our typical ice cream base, and then I will be adding our cocoa powder and our blackberry to this. The charcoal I'm gonna save to the end because I wanna see how dark this gets already, because I don't wanna add too much of this because this could overpower a lot of the other flavors we have going on. Now the black sesame seeds, this is the more complex ingredient. I actually need to take these out and toast them first. Then I need to blend them up in a coffee grinder or spice grinder to kind of get them more into like a paste. And then I can add that to our ice cream base. But before I do that, I'm going to taste the cocoa powder and the sesame seeds just so I can kind of see what their base flavors are, so I know how much of these I need to add going forward. Okay, that is what the black sesame seeds look like. They are super tiny. Yeah, for the most part, these don't really have a strong flavor. I do think topping our ice cream with this would actually be really nice because it will add kind of a nice texture to it as well. All right, the next we have our 100% dark chocolate. Yeah, that's chocolate, but it's unsweetened, so it's rather bitter. So I do need to keep that into account when I'm adding sugar to the ice cream to make sure it is compensating for the lack of sugar in this. Okay, that is the result of our toasting and blending, and this looks really good. It's already starting to clump together. Kind of looks like Oreo crumbs a little bit, but it has a nice kind of toasted sesame smell to it, which I think will be really good in this ice cream. So I'm gonna go ahead and dump all of that here. All right, then next I'm gonna add 1 tablespoon of our chocolate right here. Because the dark chocolate here is going to be so bitter, I am going to be adding another tablespoon of Swiss Miss milk chocolate. It's a mixture I have for hot chocolate, but I'm going to use that to kind of balance out and add a little bit of sweetness to this. Then next I'm going to be adding our sugar and guar gum. And right now I'm going to start with 4 tablespoons of sugar. I'll taste this as I'm making it and I might need to add more, but I think for now this is probably a good start. All right, now we're gonna add our cup of milk. All right, I am still mixing this together, but I think this is time to add our blackberry syrup. Now this, I don't have an exact measurement, but I am guessing this is anywhere from 2 to 3 tablespoons worth of blackberry syrup. You could use your own blackberries. I'm preferring the syrup because it prevents the seeds from getting in here, and it will add an additional sweetness to this ice cream. Just gonna pour that whole thing in there. All right, off camera, I went ahead and tasted this, and this is pretty close, but I decided it needed a little more sweetness. So I added another tablespoon of sugar, tablespoon of the Swiss Miss milk chocolate, and then I added a spoonful of cream cheese frosting to help thicken and sweeten the ice cream. All right, I think that's looking good. Now for my favorite part. We'll be adding charcoal to this. So the trick is though, is I have to open up these tablets. See if I can break these without getting it everywhere. All right, here we go, there's one. Mixing these in, see how that looks. Well, this took a lot longer than I was expecting. It took about 20 tablets of activated charcoal to get it to kind of the dark color that I'm wanting here. And I know in the freezer this will get even darker, but I wanted to make sure it was at least kind of this dark gray. So yeah, I'm really happy with this color. Smells amazing. I'm getting a nice kind of chocolate and blackberry smell from this. But I think for now we're ready to go ahead and pour this and put it in the freezer. Yeah, you can see a lot of the sesame seeds have floated to the top. Once this freezes and then it's blended up again, those will be evenly dispersed, so we'll be fine with that. But we're really loving this color, and I'm really excited to see how dark this gets once it freezes overnight. But until then, let's go ahead and put it in the freezer. See what it looks like tomorrow. Okay, it is the next day. Let's see how this turned out. Awesome. Okay, this is looking really dark. I'm loving this color. I know it looks a little bit brown on the top, but you can kind of see here on the side, it's got more of that charcoal black color. The brown is more from the sesame seeds, and that will disappear once this is blended up. But yeah, this is looking really cool. Here's a better look. That. Yeah, the smell's really good. I'm getting obviously a lot of that dark chocolate. I'm getting more kind of like an earthy kind of nuttiness, which I believe is from the sesame seeds, and then getting a hint of that blackberry as well. So I'm really excited for this. So yeah, I think this is ready to go ahead and blend up. So I'm excited to see what this looks like on the other side. Wow, I am really loving how dark this is. This is looking really good. There's a hint of brown to it, which you can tell, but I am fine with that. Gonna get a good look right there. It kind of, right now, is giving kind of like a dark pudding kind of consistency, just, you know, darker. It smells really good. I'm getting kind of that dark earthiness from the 100% cocoa, and then still getting that blackberry smell coming through, which is really good. So yeah, I am really excited to try this. So let's go ahead and dish it up. And then off camera, I toasted up some more of the black sesame seeds that I'll use as a topping here. There you go, there's a good look at that. Well, before tasting this, I can say this is turning out pretty close to how I expected it. I think the one thing I'm a little disappointed in is the overall consistency of the ice cream. Holding its shape well, but it's still not as like solid as I'd want. And I'm thinking it's because all I really added was a bunch of powders or syrups to this. It wasn't anything like solid to help kind of emulsify everything. So that is something to look forward to in next year's version of Darkest Ice Cream. But for now, I think we need to go ahead and taste this and see how we did. Bon appetit.
Oh, you think darkness is your ally? You merely adopted the dark. I was born in it, molded by it.
Okay, lots of thoughts on this ice cream. First of all, still looks good. It's already starting to melt to kind of look like this like frozen pudding kind of, but it's not bad. Like, other than that part, it tastes really good. I think the issues with this ice cream is it is the sum of its components, and all of its components were basically powders. And so eating this, I think specifically the charcoal, I can taste the granular bits of the ingredients that are in here. And so it feels weird on your teeth. So it's a weird mouthfeel. Blackberry is doing a lot of heavy lifting here to help with the flavor, but I feel like I needed even more to push it over that edge because it's sweet, but it's not like, wow, that's like ice cream sweet. This feels closer to something healthy a little bit. I do like the sesame seeds on top, but they don't really add a bunch, I feel like they do more visually than anything else. This is a really fun thing to do, and I think there's a lot of applications you can do. You can use this for other things. For the charcoal, I needed to add it a bunch to make sure I got it super dark, but I feel like that also changed the flavor of this a little bit, and especially with the grittiness of everything. So flavor-wise, it's not something I would like crave to go back to. If someone gave it to me, I'd eat it, but it's not like wowing me. I would say the type of person that would like this is either someone who's really into gimmicky Halloween ice creams, or someone who is more of a health nut and wants to avoid overly sweet things. Then I would say this is probably the route you'd want to go. So because of all those things, this was very fun to do, but I'm going to give the darkest ice cream version 1 a 3.5 out of 5. I feel like there's a lot of room for improvement for next year. I'm excited to see your guys' suggestions for those. I feel like this works for what it is, but I feel like there were areas it could be improved upon. So yeah, darkest ice cream. Fun concept, had a lot of fun making this, but it could definitely be improved on. Okay, it's time to churn the wheel. Okay, this should be a really fun one. I added a couple new ones on here, and this was one of the new ones, so I'm excited for this. I'll see you guys next week.